Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Out of Bounds. It is me, Joey P. Joe P's a P with my two best friends, Bogman and the Welsh. We hang out here every single week and talk football, a little fantasy, a little wagering, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a lot of things. And we usually do it on audio only, but today, well, today is a new day. Yes, it is, because today we're also on the YouTube channel. Why? Because y'all made Out of Bounds so darn popular that they couldn't stop it anymore. They had to put our handsome faces on the YouTube channel. And of course, I use handsome in air quotes. Bogman, Welsh, it's great to see both of you, my boys here. We had a nice holiday weekend, little days off there. Bogman, you're just having the best time ever. I mean, your Steelers win. Your Longhorns win. The Ravens lost to the Eagles. I mean, this is and there were a ton of sides.
That's smug
and a ton of sides at Thanksgiving. I mean, this is heaven for you.
I mean, it is great. Honestly, it is great. And I understand the smugness. You know, I'm definitely like one of Kyle's parents in that episode of
like
South
I want
Park,
happiness for you, but like your face makes me want a couple bad things to happen. Nothing serious,
yeah.
But
well, listen, I expect the anvil to drop on me at some point here. You know, just knowing the history of the world. It's not all going to work out, but it was a great weekend. I really, really like. Look, my bets weren't great this weekend, so you know if you're looking for the turd-colored lining, Welsh, there it is.
You got a Diamondbacks hoodie on too, so that's not great.
Yeah, that's also true. You know, we can't defer payments until Judgment Day.
Hey
like
Joe, thanks for wearing that Bills hoodie too. By the way,
this one I found in my closet from a team that I coached a few years ago. I figured it was appropriate to wear on the show day because speaking of anvils dropping, the anvil dropped on the 49ers hard in the snow. Look, we had the over-under 4.5 games for Christian McCaffrey this year. I took the under. Bogman, I think you were on the under with me and Erickson as well, I believe, if memory serves. Yes?
I can't remember.
You can't remember. But anyway, the 49ers are done. Oh, Welsh has left the show already. We just got on YouTube. How could you leave now? But okay, here's the real question, Welsh. How much of the game did you actually watch last night before you just turned it off and did that sad, like,
can I
Mark
guess?
Ruffalo
Can I guess
walk outside?
Yeah, let Bogman guess.
Okay. I think it was after the Bills scored the touchdown, they kicked off, and the Niners fumbled. I think you just turned TV off and didn't go back.
I want to guess too.
Okay.
I think Welsh, it was the Amari Cooper catch and then tossed to Josh Allen for the touchdown where Welsh said, okay, that's it.
I think he was done before that.
You think he was done before then? Okay.
Didn't even see that play. Did not see that play. I was out, I think about 3 or 4 plays after Christian McCaffrey banged his knee on the ground, instantly knew that he was done and gone, instantly tweeted to everybody, hope you still have your Jordan Masons. Guess what? I do. That's the only silver lining of the whole thing. I then popped back in after halftime to be like, maybe, nope. And that was it. So it was about Christian, because I think after the Christian McCaffrey injury, that was roughly near the 3rd touchdown, 21 to whatever. I checked out pretty early. It's checkout time. I had no reason to watch that disgusting game, even though I had FFPC implications on the line. And good thing George Kittle had 1 catch. That helped me out a bunch.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Don't lose heart, because look at the Philadelphia Eagles this year. They were basically the Niners last year of everything going wrong. You were the healthiest team in the NFL last year. Erickson loves to point that out every single time, and that was eventually going to come home to roost, and it did. Joe Stradamus did show up on the live stream on Sunday, though, talking about maybe you should all get Jordan Mason back on your rosters, because what's the chances that they win? And they're probably, not going to win in Buffalo in the weather and all this stuff. So you might as well pick up Jordan Mason, because what if they just shut McCaffrey down over the last couple of weeks? You want to just grab him now for free on a Sunday? Once again, Joe Stradamus. This is the second time with Jordan Mason that I have.
How about work for your team? That didn't you cut Jordan Mason recently? Did you pick him back up?
I had to cut him. I had week 12 buys up the yin yang, and I had no choice. I had to field the team because I am in the playoff race.
I hope that team's eliminated.
You shouldn't, because I'm the only one that could stop Derek Brown in that league. He is
it's Dever?
22-2 or whatever the hell he is, and I'm going to be the 4 seed that beats him, and that is going to be the best show that we could possibly do.
You take that Bills thing off, I might root for you.
No, it's staying off for the rest of the show. So let's talk about CMC fantasy-wise, right? Because we are talking fantasy here. So, Boggs, the future here for him, this is a player that has bounced back from injury before, right? And was kind of written off and went back and had 2 monster seasons after 2 injury-plagued years. What's your assessment of Christian McCaffrey next year? Do we see him as a lesser version of himself, or do you see him as like the guy now who he's going to show you those flashes, but he's not going to be on the field enough?
Joe,
Yes,
I
dear.
don't even believe that this is a PCL injury at all. Why would you believe a single thing the 49ers tell you about an injury at all this year?
That's fair.
I don't believe anything
that
they say. This guy had he had bilateral Achilles tendonitis. He had to go to a different country to be evaluated here, right?
Yeah, was it Germany? Yeah, they did that.
It was.
I will retort. Ed McCaffrey was on Kay Adams, the wonderful Kay Adams, and did confirm it was a PCL
Well, he shouldn't
injury.
be on. I mean, you should give her some more room to breathe. That's not really.
I'm just saying he was on there and said
nowadays.
that it was a PCL injury. He's going to have an MRI, and then did the if he can play, he's going to go regardless of the playoff thing. But he is clearly done for the. Did you see the video, by the way, of his calf going just wobbling?
That's why
up,
I don't believe him.
out?
It looks like it was that's what happens with the Achilles tear. Is a whole calf vibrates.
You're right.
So
You're right.
So I don't even believe that it was a PCL tear because Shanahan and the Niners have lied to us too many times about injuries. We didn't know about Brandon Allen's busted finger before he played.
No, we did not.
We all thought Purdy was going to end up starting that game, and he didn't. They've hidden injuries all year long. I don't trust a thing the Niners are
next
saying.
Year, then?
Hold
on. No. Okay, so you're out of the business. Welsh, are you out of the business?
Of what? Trusting Shanahan?
No, trusting McCaffrey next year.
Oh, McCaffrey next year, if he's healthy. But I just don't believe anything for this year at all whatsoever.
Christian McCaffrey is the Mike Trout of football. He's an immense talent. Mike Trout, if you're a baseball guy, Mike Trout was one of the #1 fantasy players to start the year this past year, even though he's getting older and his body was breaking down. He went out, he was berserk, and what happened? Exactly what everybody expected. He got hurt. So, and those are the guys that kill me in all fantasy. If the players start to get hurt and then their game starts to deteriorate, okay, that's one thing. But when they're out there, Jacob deGrom, Mike Trout, and they're amazing, I can't help myself. So, he's going to get hurt. He's not, his body is breaking down. He's a running back. McCaffrey's out there a gajillion times per game. So can I trust him? No, but will I? Yeah, I probably will. I'll go right back into that whole ball game. But we really need to hear what happens because, dude, that thing looked like the moon coming down on the ocean and the ocean just going. That calf on that video, the slow motion that dude put out there on Twitter, looked brutal, and he's going to be done. And that's why you said it last week. I tweeted out, you got to have Jordan Mason. And if Jordan Mason just instantly became the weirdest and wildest, biggest Week 14 waiver going into the playoffs because people dropped him, like you, Joe, who got hit with bipolar.
I had no choice, but again,
I know, and that's what happened.
That particular roster, I got Derrick Henry, B. Rob, Chubb. I got 6 running backs on the roster, so it was more just I literally can't field fighting for my life in the playoffs. It's such a hyper competitive league that flex, super flex expert league. It's so tough that there's zero margin for error, and I knew it, and I knew as soon as I did it. It was gonna bite me in the ass, and sure enough,
it was right around the time where you could, because it was you're oh, McCaffrey's been here for 3 weeks now, so it's all right, maybe we're good to go. And then
that's the thing. It's okay, well, we seem to know where things are going.
We're not even using these other guys, so
yeah. Well, look, don't be shocked if they don't evaluate Garendo a little bit more too, because that's the whole thing. I want to say Mason contract wise, Eli Mitchell, all those guys might be gone next year, so. It might not just be Mason. You might get a little Garendo in there. I want to talk about Josh Allen here because it does feel like now, with another Lamar Jackson loss, even though his stats are really good, it's another loss for him. Saquon's a running back. They're not going to give it to him. Should they consider him? Of course they should. He is incredibly valuable. But yesterday was probably the last time you were going to see Josh Allen in the positive for MVP. It was plus 125. I told everybody, bet it because he's going to win. And if Lamar loses, they're going to separate, and they have. Minus 280 right now for Josh Allen. Plus 850 for Lamar Jackson. Boggs, I mean, it feels like this is finally the year, quote unquote, that Josh Allen gets his MVP.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely trending that way. Like you said, I'm looking at it right now. I think Barkley is the only one that has, a legit chance to dethrone Josh Allen right now, and it would have to be Josh Allen making some mistakes to drop the Bills out of, maybe not a home game. They already locked up a home game, but maybe even competing with the Chiefs for the #1 seed. Something like that would have to happen to put Barkley up there because they just don't want to give this award to a running back ever again. It's all a quarterback. So,
do you guys know who the last non-quarterback MVP was? Because I have it here.
I want to say Sean Alexander. Is it 04?
Okay, Bogman, what's your guess?
yeah, I mean that sounds about right.
It was 2012. Adrian Peterson was the last one, and only
Oh,
three.
AP did. Yeah.
Only three non-quarter. Actually, I'll do this. 4 non-quarterback MVPs since 2000, and they were all running backs.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Sean Alexander's when you said Adrian Peterson. I remember that one too. Yeah, it's not an award that, and I mean, AP Player of the Year is now for the non-quarterback. That's what it is. It's the you're the best player who's not a quarterback, and that's where it goes. I want to get to more discussion about the Ravens and the Eagles too, but I want to get to the discussion here from our folks on our Discord. Axel is up with us here. So again, we record this show on our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat, where people can come in and actually ask us questions live here, talk about their disgruntled Sundays and things that went wrong with their fantasy team. Axel, you're up with everybody here. What's going on? What do you have for us today?
Yeah, just want to be judged on some bad trades I made before the deadline, and a question about which quarterbacks to keep going forward.
Sure. Well,
Sure.
let's talk about the bad trade. What'd you do, Axel?
Sounds really bad.
Well, Axel's
Well,
a
I-
Bears fan from his avatar, so he is not having a good Thanksgiving.
I'm really worried about Axel. Axel, give it to us. We're
I want
gonna help
actually. You're the perfect segue into the next topic too. Maybe we'll jump a topic, but let's make it about you first, Axel. What do you have?
Okay, so I traded away JSN and Brian Robinson for Brees Hall.
I mean,
Yeah, look, you know,
theory, that was
in
fine.
week 2, you could understand everybody being excited about Brees Hall, but there was nothing, I think, going forward, Welsh, that like you saw the Jets' offense continuing to sputter. I mean, in the first quarter, it had a couple moments there, and then of course the Brees Hall fumble, and then my favorite moment of Sunday was the Leonard Williams return for a touchdown, 92 yards or whatever
Of
it was.
course it was.
There's nothing like the big
Against
boy
his old
scoring.
team.
Oh, his old team, Geno Smith beating the Jets in New York. This was the Darnold game that I didn't get because it was in London. So now we got the Geno Smith knife in the heart for the Jet season with big old Leonard Williams running 92. I love when the Bigums run all the way down the field with the ball. It is my favorite thing. And I didn't see Aaron Rodgers chasing him at all. I was looking. I didn't see him
Weird.
chasing. Yeah.
When
Yeah,
did
not a
this
lot
trade
there.
go down, Axel?
2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago.
I gotta tell you,
Man,
I
and
think
B-Rob
I
was-
think it's okay. Like B-Rob, like he just
Yeah,
lost.
B-Rob was banged up.
Yeah.
JSN was kind of coming around, but you know, if you can, most of the time you want the best player in a trade, right? So, Brees Hall at that point still easily the best player in the trade, and still probably is the best player in the
And
trade.
JSN had
but-
been up and down box. So it's not like,
Yeah.
he
It's
had been
it
very
just
boomer
sucks
bust.
now
so-
because Brees Hall's banged up. Obviously, was not 100% yesterday, and JSN is playing out of his mind, and B-Rob just scored, a lot of points for you. So yeah, it is depressing. I understand the voice now, Axel. I get it. But some of those, I think your process was right, and it just didn't work out this time.
Axel, what was the other thing you had? Because you said you had a question for this
Okay,
week.
so real quick, I traded away Bucky Irving and Higgins because I have Chase already for
you got
JSN and
Saquon.
Taysom Hill.
Oh
boy.
no! Now Taysom Hill.
That's-
And you're a Bears fan on top of it. Axel, look, there's
That
great
hurts.
phrase in the Big Lebowski.
That one hurts.
Sometimes you eat the bear, and sometimes the bear he eats you. And as a Bears fan, you've already learned this the hard way. So Axel, it's a tough one. Taysom getting hurt. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. So it's a safe place where you can air your grievances, and that's why we love this show here. So on top of which, Axel had to watch the Bears on Thanksgiving, and I think all of us watching the Bears on Thanksgiving were number one, first and foremost. I don't want to be lost in the shuffle. It's like the second week in a row where Caleb Williams had a monstrous second half after a dreadful first half. It looked fantastic, so that's encouraging. That's good if you're a Bears fan. But the mismanagement bogs of that clock at the end, I mean, it's so unforgivable. It's so very football 101 that it almost was. It was hard to understand what was actually happening, that they didn't grasp the moment.
You know what? I feel like the top Madden players should have to give every coach a lesson on clock management, because they do it like 45 times a day with all the games that they're playing.
Yeah.
And these coaches don't do it every day. You know, that they think they know. This was idiotic. The ending of the game was one of the most bungled games you've ever seen. Nobody calls a timeout. I mean, I even think everyone wants to give Caleb the, well, you know, you're a rookie, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Call the timeout. If you see that your coach is doing something incorrect, you know this dude has already lost the locker room. They said he was giving a speech or something. One of the players cut him off and went off for it. Like,
it was amazing that he went out and he defended it after. That's the best part about this whole thing. Not just that they wasted 40 seconds. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that was the last swing of the axe there. It was, you're going to go out and you're not going to take accountability for this. You're going to say,
do it again.
I think we had the right play. We did the right process.
I'd screw up and cost my team a huge win against the best team in the NFC one more time. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. And now you get the Bears with a new OC, without their head coach, going to San Francisco this week. So do you get the dead coach bounce?
I was about to say
for the Bears. What do you think, Welsh?
Yeah, sure. Niners are just an absolute disaster. It's embarrassment. I hope the Bears beat them by 70, and I bet they will. Caleb, he'll call out of every single play, 90 seconds per play, and they'll still beat them by 20, 100%. They'll probably play up. They'll probably loosen the reins. The only problem still is that Caleb Williams still has the problem of just running around in circles, indecisive, not comfortable making those throws. The good thing is the 49ers can't cover, so he's going to be able to make quicker decisions. I legit would not be shocked. I mean, to be frank, if I had to bet on it, I'm 100% betting on the Niners and Jordan Mason going ballistic on them. But, like, they're going to score some touchdowns in the air. And we'll probably look at this team and we'll be like, who's this team? And it'll all have been Eberflus, which, what a disaster.
Maybe. I mean, but this is the Bears cycle. This is what they do. So they hire a head coach, right? Then they took Trubisky. That didn't work out, so they fired the coach. New coach comes in, don't like Trubisky. They get rid of Trubisky. They still suck, so they get to pick another quarterback. They take Fields. Fields is no good with that coach. They fire that coach, and then they bring another coach, and then that coach doesn't like Fields. So they move on from Fields, and they still suck.
This is the first time
quarterback. This is the first time
the last time a head coach left in the middle of the year, it was to go to World War II, and it was George Halas who owned the team. That's the last time they replaced coaches in the middle of a season. So this is not something that the Bears do or take lightly. They don't fire coaches in season, and they made a big exception for this bunglement of this game. And, obviously a lot. Well, we can call it banglement. I think that fits perfectly.
Wow.
But,
let me ask you, do you guys really think the Bears can win next week? Either one of you?
Yes. Will,
okay, Joe.
I think they'll fall short again. I think they can cover the 6.5, though.
Let's do this.
I'll be honest with you. I do.
I got a bet for you. You ready? This will be on the show for next week. Let's do a fingernail bet. If the Niners win, I want you to do your fingernails. If the Bears win, I'll come on the show and I'll paint my fingernails. And we will Caleb Williams it up.
Caleb Williams bet.
Yep, it's a Caleb Williams bet.
Yeah. So
I was about to say yes for the Bears. Joe beat me to it. I'm glad I don't have to paint my fingernails now. So
no, you're with him now.
Well, I said they could cover. I don't know if they can win. See, that's
straight up. Just straight up win. I mean, I'll give you 2 points. I don't know what the spread is right now. I'll give you.
The spread is 6.5. That's why I said I think they can.
I'll give you 2.5 because you're dead cat bounce and the 49ers stink, and you're wearing that stupid Bills hoodie on. You get minus 2.5.
All right, I'll take it. So the Bears cover the 2.5. There you go.
Fingernail bet.
Then you have to.
Yeah, one of us is gonna have some.
Hold on.
Fingernails next week.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Can I pick the color? Since I'm the neutral for whoever loses.
Well, it's gonna. Welsh and I both have daughters, so it's gonna be whatever's in the house.
It's gonna be whatever I can find in her drawer.
Okay, but you have to send me a picture of the options, and I pick.
We'll see.
About
I'll
that.
do them on the show. I'll do them during the show next week. That's what we'll do.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's go to Dreadis, who's been very patient waiting for us. What's up, Dread? How's it going?
Dreadis?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
You need to leave Joe alone with his Bills hoodie. Bills fan over here.
Yeah, that's right, Dread. There you go.
How many teams do you have, Dread? I thought you were a Jaguars fan.
Yeah, I thought you were a Jaguars fan.
I can't be fans of more than 2 teams.
No, you can do whatever you want.
You get to pick one. Who's your main team?
Well, in all fairness, if you're a Jaguars fan, it feels like you should have a second team. Like you should be allowed to have a team that actually
or Panthers fan too, I guess. But
actually, main team is going to be the Dolphins. I'm sorry.
Oh, you can't have all these.
You have all the teams.
You have all the teams, Dread.
You're like the Chargers.
like the whole
Florida has
SEC.
3 teams. I'm from Florida.
Have you seen that Chargers lady who wears like jerseys of everybody? It's like the Chargers and she's like the Vikings. That's
Oh
Dred.
yes, I have seen that. Yeah, I do. Mine has like 6 teams all splitched together.
That's
God.
hilarious.
I want you to get one of those
Dred's representing
jerseys.
Florida.
I want like a triple jersey of all your favorite teams just stitched together in one big jersey. That would be
Like
great.
Mama Kelsey. Dred
Yeah, Mama
has a
Kelsey,
couple
exactly.
sons that are playing for the, So what? How was your weekend, Dred? What do you have fantasy wise for us?
It went great. Thanks to you. My opponent that I'm going to be matched up with in the playoffs has CMC, and I picked up Jordan Mason
Yeah.
2 hours
Somebody was
before
listening.
2 hours
Let's
before the game,
go.
just
Let's
in case.
go
I'm like,
Sunday
they're
morning.
playing in the snow. I don't think he's 100%. I'm going to pick him up just in case.
Beautiful
Smart.
time, Dred.
Boy.
That made my day. That is fantastic.
stinks.
You can root for
All
every
this
team in the NFL
trailblazing.
after that. I really don't care because that's absolutely tremendous. I want to talk about the Eagles because I want to give them some credit. The Eagles, Vic Fangio, that defense played really well. Saquon out of his mind. That run that he had at the end was just tremendous. And I think it's a good question to ask at this point too, because the Lions lost a ton of players defensively, got hurt in that game, and already were down Hutchinson. Are the Eagles right now the best team in the NFC, or is it the Lions? Boggs, I want to hear your take first.
It's the Lions. It's not the Eagles. I think the Eagles got a little bit exposed yesterday because who hasn't been able to pass on this Ravens defense? Maybe they played a little bit better in this game, but Jalen Hurts was not passing the ball well in this game. And I think they probably should have put up more points and won by more. But Saquon is the man. The offensive line is pushing everybody around. I think they have a more complete defense as well. That secondary is insane. I don't think it's I think the Eagles have a more complete defense, but I don't think it's close. I think the Lions are the best team overall in the NFC, way over Philly, because Philly's a little bit one-dimensional on offense.
I just want to reiterate, I completely agree because they cannot be. They are they cannot pass the ball. Even with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith back, it's okay. They just don't have it with, I mean, they'll have some games, but they're way too one-dimensional for me to think that the Eagles are really even at the tippy top. I think it's Lions, and then there might be a gap, and then there's like another tier of just a handful of teams, and I think the Eagles are kind of thrown into maybe what those handful of teams are.
It might be Lions, then Eagles, then everybody else, but I do think that there is a significant gap.
It would be an interesting matchup, I think. I feel like Saquon is in, like, this is one of those, we're seeing a special season, you think you recognize that when guys are just having that special quote unquote year, and this is what's happening right now with Saquon. He hasn't looked this good since he was a Penn State box. I'll be honest. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Saquon look quite.
Well, yeah, he
this
was
good in
stuck
the NFL.
playing with the Giants in between Penn State.
Yeah, but even
and
his
the
rookie year
Eagles.
when he went off, he had a great, rookie season. I mean, people were so far removed from his college days now that I think people forget how incredibly dominant he was when he played at Penn State. I mean, the guy was unbelievable there. And you're right. I mean, we should have all been more aggressive on Saquon. We had that conversation about a week ago, too. We were talking about that. Also, a little bit of news here. The linebacker from the Texans who put the hit, Azeez Al-Shahir, on Trevor Lawrence, which was a dirty hit. Terrible. I mean, just awful. And you saw Trevor Lawrence immediately have, the
Fencing
concussion
position.
symptom, what is it? The seizing is that
Fencing is what
the
they
arm-
call it. The
fencing,
fencing
right, thank
posture
you.
where his fingers are doing weird stuff.
it was terrible situation. Lawrence just came back. I mean, the Jaguars feel Welsh like a team that is just being completely snake bit as an organization. And, when they drafted Lawrence, it felt like that was then things are turning around and we were going to finally see maybe the uptick of the Jaguars. And then there was that little bit of improvement when Peterson came in and it was like, okay, maybe they are turning things around. And it's just gone in the complete other direction. So obviously Peterson's going to be done. I think
What's the
everybody
news,
thinks
though?
that-
You said, like, there's news, and you just left
Oh,
us
that he's
hanging.
going to be suspended. Sorry about that. He will be suspended for that hit, which he should be.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a dirty
honestly,
player.
he should
Did
be
they say
suspended
how
for
long
multiple
yet?
games. Not yet, but a suspension will be coming.
Just
so-
suspend him to the end of the year. And like, I feel like, set an example. Like, we're not going to allow this type of dirty hit. I was mixing up guys. I mean, Matt Milano's laid a lot of dirty hits on, but it was Kiko Alonso against Joe Flacco, if you remember that hit. And I remember there was one a lot like this. I don't think it was nearly as dirty, but Cincinnati, I think it was Pecco, the guy with all the hair, hit Trent Green. I remember you could just see the lights go out for Trent Green as well. Like, there have been, Tua has taken many of these type of hits. If it's this clearly obvious that it was a dirty hit and everything is happening bang bang. I don't think.
Yeah, I get all that. I get all that, like, things that are
murder
happening
him,
really quick in the moment. But everything was, Lawrence was clearly in the beginning of his
you're right.
slide, and he did
I'm
not
not
make
going to sit
any
here and
attempt
defend
whatsoever to
Alshire
avoid
at
him.
all.
No.
I understand that, he's not trying to level this type of punishment. He's just trying to make him feel it.
It's also the new version of, like, they can't
here.
lead with their helmets, so he leads with their hands, and they shove so they don't have their helmet hit, and it looks, I mean, like, it's even more brutal. It's not a defense at all because it was nasty.
Well, you also
like,
get the quarterbacks Welsh nowadays who do the fake stuff. Like Mahomes is one of those guys too. Like he'll start to fake a slide and then run another 5 yards. Like that's the stuff too that now these defenders
stop too.
Well, that's a problem. But you can't stop that because that's gamesmanship. That's football. Like you can't like duck that.
Then you're
going to
get your ass rocked, is what I say. Like,
well, but that's
somebody
now
needs to blow up.
Waiting for that.
Somebody needs to blow up Patrick Mahomes on that fake nonsense. You do it once to
that'll
him.
Get the red. Then they'll have a congressional meeting because Patrick Mahomes got hit, and everybody they'll get senators involved and world leaders because Patrick Mahomes got hit. Trevor Lawrence is in a hospital bed.
So Black Friday game. But did you watch Black Friday game, or you were out shopping at the Walmart, Welsh? Where were you? Were you watching the end of the Chiefs game?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, what you're watching, or
no, I watched the game. I gotta be honest with you, I don't remember like if I watched the entire game, but I was watching. Well,
all you need to know is the end. The end is what we need to talk about there. Did you have a problem with the last call? Did you think it was nonsense and it was?
What was the last call? I'm just not remembering the.
Well, they called it a legal procedure instead of a false start. False start would have given them the ball again.
Which meant it was a live ball foul, and the Chiefs didn't get the ball back. I don't think I was. Or the Raiders didn't get the ball back.
The Raiders didn't get the ball back.
Yeah, I was trying. I was just like
people again lost their minds. Like,
Christian McCaffrey. I had just trying to get all the demons away, and it didn't work. So that's what I was busy doing.
All right, let's get to the 3-1-1. Before we do, we'll explain that for people watching us over on YouTube for the first time. Let's go to Father Man. Our friend, I believe down south.
Yeah, Father Man was he was in College Station at the game, sitting in the Aggie student section. Was that you? I saw Father Man with the horns up. While all those weirdos were doing their dance.
Oh, dude, you know it. Come on.
There you go. Father Man's there. Yeah. You didn't try to go planting any flags anywhere, I hope, Father Man, because that gets you in trouble.
Oh, no. I stayed in the stands, dude, but I definitely stuck out sitting in the A&M student section, but it don't matter, dude. Horns, baby.
That's right.
There you go. So how was your holiday weekend of football, my friend Father? How's it going?
It was great, other than dude, Josh Allen sucks.
Why does he suck? Because he beat you? Is that what happened? Did Josh Allen put up a big stinky number on you?
What did he not cover for you? Yeah, it's more.
Or what did he not cover for you? One of the two.
In my two main money leagues, dude, I was playing against him in both of them, dude. Man.
Minus 225, new MVP.
But, though, on the good part about that, on both those leagues, I had Jordan Mason stashed back on my bench because Joey showed me to, so.
That's 2 for 2. I love this show. I love it, baby. Let's go. Hey,
and
this is why you hang out with
his head grew 3 sizes bigger than it actually was.
Which is saying something because it's already enormous. But look, this is why you hang out with us at Fantasy Pros. This is why you subscribe. This is why you're with us because, again, I think that's the gamesmanship. And I think there's a difference where we have a lot of great analysts here. And the one thing that I always like to talk about, too, is like there's also that gamesmanship of fantasy football that I don't think gets talked about enough. And it's these little things like that where it's Sunday morning, you're looking at the slate, you're looking at the weather, you're looking at your roster, and you go, I got this jabroni at the bottom of my roster. Why don't I just drop him and somebody drop Jordan Mason? Let me add him just in case. And the 2 times you need to do that was week 1, where we talked about it on the show, and then yesterday, where we talked about it on the show. And if you're watching those shows, you saved yourself a lot of fab, and who knows, you maybe even won yourself a league at the end of the day, because he immediately becomes, a low-end RB1 Welsh, you would assume, in this offense?
I think he's
even
top
with
15.
Garendo getting work?
Yeah, top 15. I mean, we'll see if Garendo gets a little bit more, but they rolled Mason out. I mean, dude, Mason has a legit shot. Just think about this and how far back he's been, and he had a couple bad weeks. He could get over 1,000 yards this season. He still is 760 or 80 or maybe right at 800. He's going to rush for 1,000 yards this year after missing all of that time with McCaffrey back. all that.
Speaking
time.
of 1,000 yards, what is Mike Evans at now, Joey? Remember a couple weeks ago? Oh, he's never gonna get to this 1,000-yard marker. Where is he at now? Because
I don't know.
I
I actually
believe
don't know.
he
Where
has
is
to
he?
average just under 100 yards the last couple games to hit his 1,000 yards. I think he's gonna
I'm
get
not
it.
trying to be a jerk. I don't want Mike Evans not to get that number. I just thought it was going to be pretty hard to do.
I mean, he's an Aggie, so I don't care if he gets it or not, but I do think he will get it. So
Here's my favorite stat, and I threw this at the boys at the waiver wire show on Monday. It was so Nick Westbrook-Akina has 8 touchdowns now, right? Which is obviously absurd. It's like 20% of his catches are touchdowns this year. He is actually tied for 3rd for the most receiving touchdowns in the NFL. Can you name who's ahead of him? We played this little game. Can you guys name him? Now, people were listening to Monday's show. Amon-Ra is tied with 9
Jamar
with somebody
Chase?
else. Jamar Chase is number 1 with 13.
Okay.
that's it. What is that?
thought
Is
you
that
just said 2.
how
No,
many did
no.
you
So
say?
there's another. So Terry McLaurin also has 9. He's tied with Amon.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And you've got the guy that did not get a football at all yesterday, George Kittle, tied with Nick Westbrook-Akina. So there you go. I mean, that kind of tells you where things are at with the wide receiver touchdowns. And Mike Evans, who missed time, he's at 7, along with Marvin Harrison Jr., who's been a massive disappointment. Yet he has 7 touchdowns, of which he's also now like tied for 4th or whatever in the league with touchdowns. So I mean, it's been a weird year for all.
Mike
that.
Evans has played 9 games and has 7 scores.
Yes, but he's Mike Evans. He's a Hall of Famer. 3-1-1. Every week we find a 300, or we try to predict a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, and a 100-yard receiver. So far on the year, Welsh is kicking our rear ends. He has got 15 points. I am at 9. Bogman's at 7 here. Every time we get one right, you get a point. So, Welsh, since you're the big daddy on the board, where are you going for this coming week here for week 14 with your 3-1-1?
That did sound gross. Like how Joe said. Bogman's face kind of said it all. I was like, nah, don't.
What,
don't
the big
call,
daddy on the board?
Don't call me daddy. Don't call me dad. There's
Come
a
on,
podcast
Daddy.
that wants to be called daddy. It's not me.
Not
Last
this
week,
one? You don't like
nope.
I don't know, Welsh. That's not what I heard about you. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Hey, I had Justin Herbert, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson last week for my 300, 100, 100. Absolutely nailed Mixon. Did not get the other 2. So for this week, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow versus the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys offense has been a little stanky, giving up a lot more passing yards over the last, really on the season, but over the last month they have. And Joe Burrow is going to be slinging it. I'm going to pair him. I'm just going to jump over to it with Jamar Chase, just eating up Dallas. So I like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. And then my 100-yard rusher, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara will get nothing short of 74 touches per game moving forward. Taysom Hill is probably going to be gone. Deepak Chona mentioned it on the recap show. They have nobody else. They're going to throw it to him 34 times, and they're going to run it 76 times every single game. And this is a good matchup just against the Giants as well. So I think he's going to easily
The
be
Giants
able to
just
go over
lost
that.
Dexter Lawrence for the year.
Yeah, it's
too.
an easy
Like
touch
their
here.
Best
And
interior defender.
we also have 2 fun parts to this game for everybody is A, you can take all of these and you can put it in a parlay and it'll come up with some absurd number. Or as 1 week this would have hit, pare it down. If you pare it down to like 280, 80, 80, then if you like some of these hits, you can try to hit in a big parlay. I had 1 week where I was 5 yards short of Stafford of hitting all 3. So if you want a betting angle, you can pare it down just a little bit, or you can put them all together and you can promote to us if one hits and that you bet it, and it'll be so much fun. But yes, 15-point lead. I need like 2 more good weeks, and I think I'm going to be able to hold you guys off if I can
Well, you got
at
a
least get one.
6-point lead. You got a 6-point lead on me. Well,
Yeah.
let's not go crazy here.
No, I'm just saying. That's why I said 2 more weeks. I think if I get to week 15 and you guys haven't closed the
Alright.
gap, I think I'm okay.
We'll see what happens. I've got last week the only one I hit was Kamara with my rushing one. I've got Saquon this week for the rushing one. Give me Jamar Chase for against the Dallas Cowboys. Boy, the NFL was really excited about that game going into the year, right? Bengals, Cowboys, Monday Night Football. That's also the Simpsons one too, right? They're doing like the cartoon thing or whatever the heck they're doing, I think, on that game. I'm pretty sure. I gotta check. Yeah,
They
you
do
I
know,
don't
on
know all these
Nickelodeon?
Nickelodeons and
Yeah,
Simpsons and I
there's
don't know.
all kinds of stuff. There's gonna
wanna-
be a thing.
I want to
and
see
I'm going with
Joe get slimed, by the way. Joe's
wanna-
that bald head just gets slimed. That would be great. Let's do a Fantasy Pros Nickelodeon episode. SpongeBob just shows
and
up.
then Jordan Love is my last one there. So Love, Chase, and Saquon. Boggs, where are you going for the 3-1-1 in week 14?
I love it. Joe just talks right over. Yeah,
Just-
and I'm
no,
going.
no, I gotta listen to
Not getting
SpongeBob.
slimed.
Jordan
It's
Love.
not
I don't
happening.
want to get slimed. Let's not.
No,
put that
no,
idea
don't want to do it.
out there. For me, look, I'm bringing up the rear here. So I need to hit all 3. so that I can get that bonus point. Because if you hit all three, which none of us has done, I mean, that 5 yards that Welsh missed by is going to be his. Back in '83, I could have thrown a football a quarter mile.
Yeah.
But for me, I've got Kirk Cousins in the revenge game against the Vikings. So,
yeah, the Cousins revenge game. Hopefully, he throws the ball to his own players in that one.
yeah, that would be nice. I tell you
Yeah.
what, when it goes bad for Cousins with him, coming off the Achilles and everything, it goes bad. But I think it's going to go right against the Vikings. I think he's going to smoke them. I'm going to put Saquon in there against Carolina, and then just because I have to keep this rolling, let's go Mike Evans against the Raiders to put up a big old chunk of that. Currently, he is sitting at 521 yards. So needs to get on his horse here, but it's a little bit under 100 each game, and he could put up like 150 or so against the Raiders because their secondary sucks. Aiden O'Connell's the quarterback right now. They only bow up against the Chiefs ever. So
all right,
let's get those yards for Mike Evans.
We're getting a little short on time, so I'll run through the touchdown calls too. Bogman at the top of the board with 8. I am at 6. Welsh is at 6, so the gap is tightening there. Bogman, since again you're the daddy of the touchdown calls, can I call you daddy on this? No, not gonna. Okay, I don't know. So you're a big daddy of the touchdown calls, Scott Bogman. Who are you going with this week?
Hey there, big fella.
I'll ride the coattails of Welsh, and I'll take Kamara against the Giants. I just think Dexter Lawrence is not only the best piece, but also the heart of that defense. It's going to be a long slog to the end of the year for Giants fans. So
all the Juwan Johnson in that game too.
Yes, I think Kamara puts up a huge game and at least 1 touchdown.
There's your streaming tight end for week 14. All the Juwan Johnson. All right. How about you, Welsh? Where are you calling your touchdown this week?
We talked about Juwan Johnson on the recap. I'm going to go with Jordan Mason. I'm not going to go with Kamara. The Bears have given up, I believe, the second most rushing touchdowns over the last month. It's a tougher defense, but they are going to lean on Jordan Mason. So this means Isaac Guerrero, a.k.a. Eddie Guerrero, is going to score a touchdown 100%. But I'm going to go with Jordan Mason.
All right. Well, last week I went with Josh Allen. Cha-ching. That worked. This week I'm going with Saquon. So here we go. Let's lock it up there. Let's do a little what's trending. Obviously, over the holiday, one of the big films was the Wicked movie. I got to stay at home while all the ladies went to see Wicked, a little girls' day. So I stayed home and watched football and just kind of hung out. It was beautiful. It was a nice thing. But I was going to ask this question of you guys. Is there a player or two or team that you would like to see a musical made out of for the 2024 season? As we've watched things unfold here, I know there's like the Saquon Barkley, revenge narrative on the, finally.
How do you not pick Aaron Rodgers for this?
I didn't pick anyone. I want you to pick somebody, and I'm all for that.
I'm just saying, how does anybody not pick Aaron Rodgers?
I'll give you the answer.
It has to be Aaron Rodgers.
No, I'll give you the answer. The San Francisco 49ers. Lies, lies, lies. He will be healthy. Lies. He'll play this week. Lies, lies. Disappointment.
What would the Aaron Rodgers musical be called, Boggs?
Don't show up to camp.
And then I was going to say, it's your fault. That's
immunity.
It's your fault. An Aaron Rodgers musical. All right, a little bit of buzz here too. Baker Mayfield has a sore leg, but guess what? He's going to give it a go.
You know what it's called? I got it, Joe. It's called No Shot: The Story of the New York Jets, 2024.
That was in Hamilton, I'm pretty sure, right? Wasn't it? The Jets have no shot. The Jets never gonna have a shot. It's very sad. Yet not to me at all. Very, very enjoyable. Anyway, Baker Mayfield, I continue to want to pound the table for him as MVP because if anybody else deserves consideration, it's him. He is absolutely carried this team on his back. They've had injuries. They've had games where they're outmatched, outmanned in terms of talent, and yet they still go out there and they stay competitive. And I mean, he's not going to win. But Baker Mayfield deserves a little bit more credit this year. The Taysom Hill injury, obviously, he's going to miss the remainder of the season. That came through not that long ago. So, again, Welsh, have you ever seen a team just get so obliterated by injuries like the Saints have on offense over the last 6 weeks? I mean, it's absurd almost. They've lost their two starting wide receivers.
Again, the Niners, but yeah.
At one point, they lost their quarterback. No, but that's not true. That's not true because at one point, they had lost 2 wide receivers, their quarterback, and now they've lost Taysom Hill for the rest of the year too. So
what was the year remember when Baker had to go play for the Rams when he had to go play for the Rams?
Yeah, the Rams had that
was
one.
Insane.
Yeah, that was another tough one though.
Especially
How about
considering
the
how
Panthers?
they were, by the way. Just to point out, like they were like
Yeah.
80 something points in the first 2 weeks, and they just fall apart. By the way, I just want to come back to something you said in a previous show, new for the YouTube audience. Really, truly do believe the NFL needs to implement some intercontinental type of champion, so we have more than just MVP. And
Yes, we
comeback
talked
player.
about that last week.
Yeah,
I'm
because I
100%
think
in for
Baker
that.
would be whatever this other belt. You know, it's not quite like championship. Whatever that is, that would be what Baker.
He's the
is.
Marty Jannetty of the
Well,
NFL.
just the Intercontinental Champion. He's the NFL Intercontinental Champion. We are titling him that.
No, he's not the Marginetti. He's more of the, he's the worker title guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy out there, putting
Intercontinental.
butts in the seats. The Panthers. I want to talk about them real quick because they're giving everybody fits. Boggs, what's going on there in Carolina? All of a sudden, like, are they good?
Dave
Are the Panthers
Canales
good?
has fixed Bryce Young, I think is what's going on right now, because we're seeing Alabama Bryce Young, not, last year's Panthers version of Bryce Young. He is looking good. He's playing with confidence. And, I was listening to another podcast last night after the games, and they were talking about how Andy Dalton stood in there and took hits, and he's kind of showing Bryce Young how to do that, how to get the ball out late, take the hit, and, keep this offense moving and not kind of try to dodge out of the way and throw it away like he was doing before. So I think we're just seeing a much more confident Bryce Young. And that's been working for the Panthers.
Envision that.
Smiling over there.
I'm envisioning that entire conversation playing out like dodgeball, where he's just throwing a wrench, like Andy Dalton's just throwing wrenches at people. You got the 3D. You got to dip, dive, duck.
Well, I don't think he
dodge.
physically taught him. I think Bryce Young watched Andy Dalton and said, "Okay, I got to hang in
Bryce
the
Young
pocket a
is
little
Vince
bit
Young,
longer."
or Vince Vaughn.
Yeah,
Not
Patrick
Vince Young.
O'Houlihan's clearly the offensive coordinator for the Panthers. That's clear what's going on here.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
What a great
Necessary.
name.
I like it 'cause it's
O'Houlihan.
sterile.
Now, that's a game. I like it.
I like the taste.
All right, so you got some touchdown calls. You got some 3-1-1. You got a bet between Welsh and myself. So now I'll be very highly invested in that 49er Bears game. They're way more than I wanted to be. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And also, we talked a little betting on the show today too. Make sure you go over to Betting Pros on the YouTube side there. But if you download the BP app right now, the Betting Pros app, wherever you get your apps, and use that promo code FP free, you'll get 30 days of the premium Betting Pros tools. That is incredible, especially now where we got college football going on. Those playoffs are going to start before you know it. NFL playoffs are going to start before you know it. We got a lot of NFL regular season left to go. Plus, we got NBA. You've got NHL. You got all of the things going on right now in terms of sports. So it's a great time to start getting familiar with the Betting Pros tools and start using them to start betting smarter and not harder. Boys, it was always good to hang out and talk a little football with my friends. And we're going to do it again next week as well.
Everybody else can do it with us. FantasyPros.com/chat. If you guys join up with the Discord, absolutely free. You can hang out with the community, all the people, and for free, you could join in this room. We got multiple shows we do. We've got me and Erickson on Thursdays, The Extra Point. You can hang out with the Out of Bounds crew, 2 p.m. Eastern every Monday. While we do this show live, you could be in this the studio audience, if you want to call it. And we got some premium features where you could literally get into Joe Pisapia's AMA. And guess what you could do? You could be like, "Oh, Joe, you were so great. Thank you so much for Jordan Mason. It's so awesome. I really appreciate you." And you could do that if you want. And you could do it, but you have to pay. You got to pay to do that. If you're going to be a part of it, that's premium.
That's not
extra.
free. Real quick before we go, Boggs, hot take: who wins the NCAA college football championship this year? Who's the best team in college football?
Texas.
I mean,
Why
what's
you
he
asking
gonna
me
say?
that question? Of
What's he
course,
gonna
it's
say?
Texas.
Just want to see after rivalry week and stuff. I want to see where you were at.
Hey, look,
Anything changed
Texas
for you?
has a chance to beat the only team that beat them this week against Georgia. So, yeah, I think Texas is playing the best, specifically on defense.
Not gonna
Texas
be
is the
Ohio
best team
State.
in the country. Definitely not going to be Ohio State.
No, it's not. It's not indeed. All right, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Bogman and Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.